Happy Tuesday. I had to think about that for a second. How are you all doing today? I hope you are well, and I hope your week is going well. I know we're in kind of, strange times, and I just really hope you're doing well. And I've seen that the chat in Discord has been really interesting, really good, and really supportive. And I do love that from our community. So that's awesome. Jennifer, I'm so glad that you're up bright and early today. That's awesome. And I'm glad you got some rest as well, because I know you were working really hard yesterday. So, Jose, good morning. How are you doing? I'm glad everyone's managed to, take a break from their work or get up early, like Jennifer has on the west coast of the US, to join us today. Because I do love the community spirit that we do have. And today, I'm deploying my client work to production, so that's definitely keeping me busy, and hopefully won't be a late one tonight. One big feature has gone out, which is great, and just got one more big feature to go. So, yes, and we're having some good chats on the Discord between the live streams. It's interesting to see what people are working on. There's actually a really good discussion. I just caught a small part of it. I haven't really read the discussion about forking versus starring a project on GitHub, and what does a fork actually give you? Like, what do you get from the project? Is it just code? Do you get issues as well? So that's something we can talk about as well, because that was quite an interesting topic. I'm glad everyone is doing well. Azing, yes, you're late today. Now, only like 1 minute late. It's fine. You're not. You're still early. I'm just, yapping as always at the beginning until, we start this conversation with everyone here and see what people want to talk about. So don't worry, you're not late, but you have been first. Actually, you have been super early in previous streams. You were super early, even before the stream had started. So, yes, how is everybody doing though? I hope the week is going well, and you've had some challenges and you've completed those, and they've turned into successes, and then now you're going to do your next set of challenges, and I hope open source is involved in those challenges. I did see on GitHub that some people had some really active GitHub accounts, so I might have some competition around that, which is really awesome. So yeah, just going kind of what we were saying about forking a project. I always star a project and I only fork it if I want to contribute to it, or I intend to contribute to it. And I think someone on Discord, I briefly saw the notifications pop up on my screen saying they fork a project just in case the person the project maintainer deletes the project and they want to keep a copy. So that's one possibility of keeping a copy of this project that's not yours, but you want to keep a copy of it, is to fork it. And I kind of understand that. When you fork it, you do just get the code. You don't get the issues, you don't get the milestones, you don't get the labels, you don't get the wiki, you don't get... Basically, you only just get the code, is my understanding. Unless things have changed. Last time I kind of looked into that in detail, you do just get the fork. The code. Wow, it's only Tuesday. It feels like it's Friday. But we're getting there. I should be ending with my client today, so therefore I'm going to get more time to do videos. And I've got some really good ideas I want to run by with you shortly, of some video courses that I really want to do. And then I'm thinking I'll do a live stream at the end of the course to see what people have built and to run through any problems people had. But we'll talk about that in a minute anyway. Jennifer, got any sleep at all? I know Jennifer doesn't sleep. I think D-Raj is here as well. He doesn't sleep either. Having time in my life spamming my friends with my script. So D-Raj, tell us more about your script. What kind of, is it on GitHub? Can we go have a look at some of the code? I'd be interested to know, how the code looks. And what inputs do you give it? Do you give it a person, a channel, and then just repeat a message to them? Like, tell us a bit more about it in the chat. Let us know. And hopefully there is a GitHub link that we can go have a look to. About 4 hours. Wow. Whew. That's quite a short amount of sleep. I know Andrew only gets about 5 hours, and he's fine with that. I need a lot more than that. Azing, they're going to block you soon. No, none of you are getting blocked. You're all my friends. You're not getting blocked. Don't worry. But we have got Nightbot that does need a bit of configuration. It doesn't allow links in the Discord, which I need to sort out, especially for certain people. I think maybe for new people who are new to Discord, maybe they can't post links because you don't want people to come in and just drop a link and go off. Maybe if you've had a certain amount of conversations, like you've shared like 20 messages or something, then you get a role that allows you to submit links. And we're almost there on that, right? So with Nightbot, it says, is there a role who can submit links? and I can create a role. Well, I've created a role, and then in the work we were doing, I think it was Sunday night, we were on the bot, the open source bot that we're writing together for Discord. We were getting the stats of how many messages people have said. Okay, we're not saving it to a database at the moment. Each time the bot restarted, it started from scratch. But maybe tomorrow I can do like a longer stream. Actually, I can't tomorrow. Maybe Thursday I can do Thursday and Friday do a longer stream, a coding longer stream, and with the bot I can get it so that actually saves everyone's stats to the database, and therefore can assign more roles that way, and therefore people can post links. We'll get the links sorted this week. Just bear with me. Hey Luke, how you doing? Great to have you here as well. How's everything going on your side? I hope you're keeping well. And business is going good. 4 to 6, unless I'm exercising, hours and hours. So do you sleep more if you exercise, or do you sleep less? Because I hear some people saying if they exercise, they need more recovery time, so they sleep more. But I also hear other people they say they sleep less if they're exercising, because they get up earlier and they feel more energized. So I would have thought you'd need to sleep more. I did do a spin bike yesterday, and I beat my personal best so far. I've only done like 4 rides, so my personal best is not great. But yes, and I've seen people hack it's a Peloton bike. It's got like an Android tablet on the front, and I have seen people hack it and do all sorts of awesome things. Actually, Peloton run hackathons in New York, and so next year when things go back to normal and Peloton run another hackathon, I will be there, and I hope to see you all there, and I will live stream it, so you all can join me as well if you can't actually make it. You can put a timer on post links, so a new joiner wouldn't be able to post links for 12 hours or so, something like that. The roles work too. Yeah, Azing, that's a good idea. You're right. If a new joiner can't post for a certain amount of time, that's true. Maybe you could do both. Like you can't post anything within the first, I don't know, few hours, and then you also need to send a certain amount of messages or something. So it needs to do something like that. Yeah, we can work on that together later on in the week. That'd be awesome. I'll do a coding live stream, and we can work out the best rules, and we can code it. Luke says I need 8 hours sleep. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm gonna have certain days where I do like 4 or 5, but it's just like they're one-offs. I'm usually dead and need my 8 hours definitely. Absolutely. There is a search bar when you enter the name of the chat. You can type the name of the person you want to send a message to, and this is for your bot, right? Okay. So search bar, you enter the name of the chat where you want to type the name of the person, and it sends a message in the message variable, and where you can type the message. Okay, cool. If I exercise more, 2 hours MMA. Wow. Early night. Okay, that makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. A bike ride yesterday, not more, hours more, yeah. Hey Ben, how you doing? Awesome to have you here, and good to see you in the Discord as well. The bot should still be working, the Nightbot should still be working, so if I do ! Discord, Nightbot should reply with the Discord link for anyone who's new here. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, that really helps the video, and then also join us between streams in the Discord. But I am a bit quiet yesterday and today, and probably tomorrow as I just finish off some client work. The script is now hard-coded with my contacts messages, but I'll make a proper script and upload it to YouTube. Upload it to GitHub, I think is what you mean. But yes, if you want to do a YouTube video on it, that'd be awesome too. But yeah, no problem. When you get time, focus on your studies and focus on getting rest, because I know you're burning the candle at both ends, as we say. Azing, I have no idea how much sleep I need. I fall asleep when my body says get on with it. Yeah, that's good. If you haven't got meetings and I guess certain times we need to be awake or do certain things, that's what I would do. I'll just work, sleep, work. I'll probably actually sleep twice a day, which sounds odd, but I'll probably go to bed at like midnight, get up at 4 a.m, and then work until lunchtime, have lunch, and sleep again for a few hours, like 4 hours, to get my 8 hours every 24 hours. So still getting the 8 hours. And that's what I would do. So I get my 8 hours, but I get it 4 hours and 4 hours. Because me, I'm a morning person, so if I get 2 mornings a day, that's my best work. That'd be awesome. Playing with Adobe Illustrator. Awesome. Yeah, the Adobe Suite is really interesting. Someone was talking about Adobe XD yesterday through the wireframes and the designs and kind of the click-throughs, the clickable prototypes and so on. So that's always an interesting one to do. And I've got it. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. So if anyone has used XD, I know Andrew had a play with it. If anyone else has used Adobe XD, let us know kind of what you think of it. Is it hard to pick it up? It's a shame there isn't, because there's Reveal.js, which is if you want to create PowerPoint slides. If you want to create slides, not PowerPoint, but you want to create slides, then you can use Reveal.js. So you can code your slides, which I love doing, because one, it can be open source. Obviously, it's me, open source. And two, it's just, you can version it. It just runs in the browser, so you can host it on GitHub pages. But also, it's just really consistent. I don't have to worry about it just seems more natural to me. So it's a shame that, like with things, there isn't an Adobe XD equivalent where you can kind of create clickable wireframes, either with a low fidelity or a high fidelity. So easy to like kind of, when I say low fidelity, I mean like kind of sketches, like, kind of like sketch lines, just black and white, or more full-on design. You can't do that in code, like in Markdown, a bit like Reveal.js. That's just my thinking. I'm sure something will happen one day. We just need time to get there. Tibor, good to have you here. I hope all is going well. They're just going to listen today. One possible development direction is integrating Google Dialogflow. Gives a semantic understanding of comments and reactions can be created. That's true, and I want to store the code in Firestore as part of Firebase. So I know they have a lot of machine learning stuff in there. So and obviously it connects to GCP, so you can get even more if you want to do GCP stuff. So that would be really good to make the bot even smarter. But one step at a time, baby steps. My first Discord bot, so baby steps. I still need to get it deploying and working first, because at the moment, well, it's kind of deploys but doesn't quite work. I'm not sure why. I need to have a look into that. Learning character animation. Luke, let me know how you get on with that. That looked really interesting. How you animate a character, then you take it into another Adobe program, and then you can, animate kind of the story. It just looked really interesting. Let me know how you get on. That looked really hard. I think someone wrote it's quite hard in the chat somewhere. I did see that. There are 2 scripts, one for Discord and one for WhatsApp. Oh, awesome. So you got a WhatsApp one working as well. That's good to hear. Carl says, how's client work going with all the virus and all? A lot of my projects got cancelled, up and coming projects. So the current one I'm working was finishing anyway. So I was expecting to finish, this month. So that's not a problem. But I had certain events doing more DevRel, so developer relations, going to do live streams, going to do videos with people at events and conferences. And I had a few of those lined up to like Amsterdam, to Spain, Portugal. And they got cancelled, but I'd already paid for hotels, flights for me and my team. So yeah, that was quite hard. I think the insurance will cover that, but that was a bit of a pain. So I've had to kind of, now there's no physical events. I'm doing more live streaming, which is great. And I think some of my clients want to get involved in that. So I need to have some more meetings with them and discuss how we can have that kind of overlap. And they can join me. They can kind of make use of my awesome command center, right? So that's my thinking. I can help companies do live streams. I can give them control to my vMix solution that I'm using, because I can give remote access and with limited controls, so they can switch between different scenes and so forth. And I can give them access, I think, to do. So if I pick one message, where is that message? Because that's a really good question. I like that. Here we go, from Carl. So if I click Carl's message, which you probably can't see, but I can then bring it up on the screen, and I can do things like this, and I can help them do it as well. So yeah, I've got some clients who want to talk about that, but I need to arrange those meetings and have those discussions really. But I've got to finish off this current client first. And then in between, I do more community work, some courses that I talked about. We're going to talk about in a minute about what courses people like to see and how to work out those agendas. So we'll get to those in a second. Intermittent sleeping like Da Vinci. The chat's all jumped around. I'm a bit behind. I do sleep, but only I sleep in the mornings. Yeah, D-Raj, you need to sleep more. Sleep's important. But you're young, it's fine. You can get away with it. Prefer Illustrator for wireframing and storyboarding. That's interesting. Illustrator's quite hardcore, so I'm quite impressed. And you're not a fan of XD. I haven't used XD, so I can't really say. I don't really use Illustrator. I do have it. I have the Adobe suite, because it just financially made more sense to get the whole suite rather than getting one or two items separately. So I do want to use it more. I like sleep, but I like awake too. I know, right? Sleeping we need, and it's sometimes nice to just switch off. But yeah, being awake, it does lots of fun things. YouTube has dev'd. I don't know if that's a typo, Carl, or not, but has great tutorials in XD. I do need to have a look at that and see. Once I get time, I'm going to finish the client work first and do a couple of videos. I want to do some tutorials on videos. Feel like I haven't done one in maybe a month, and I feel that, yeah, it's just, I like to do those. I like to get feedback from those. I feel that I grow from those as well. Will do. Going to take a look. Going to take it into After Effects. After Effects looks like really awesome too as well. I haven't used it. My video editor uses it, and she does some cool things with After Effects. What type of clients do I work with? So high street banks more recently. So in the fintech space, I work with high street banks, government bodies in the UK. Done e-commerce like high street shops and moving them to online. Done various things. To me, it's all the same. If it's like banking or social or government, it's kind of data. It needs to be secure. It needs to be performant. You need to do automated testing. You need to use CI/CD. So each time a code is reviewed and merged into the right branch, say master, for example, then it gets deployed out to development environment. Dev branch gets deployed out to development environment, and when it's happy, you just kind of click a few buttons on GitHub and it gets deployed out to production. Just all automation. So that's what I do for me and my team. And I have various different teams. So I have the social media side of teams, a video editor, videographer, photographer, photo editor, and those sorts of things. But I also have my technical team. Well, I say my technical, like more coding apps team, and we work on projects together. So we have a few senior developers, a few more junior developers, because it's good to get that balance right. It's good to get the different inputs. And we do a lot of the automated testing, the documentation, and generating PDFs and websites from the documentation. And then we also get documenters as we need. We follow DevOps and agile practices and BDD as well. So we write our tests in the Cucumber format. So yeah, we do all those sorts of things, and we have such an amazing network that we bring people in as we need to. So we're like the core members on the team, and then we bring people in as we need to. But we're not cheap, so we're really selective on our projects, which is great because we get to choose the projects where we feel that we can value the most. And we always try and code ourselves out of a project, if that makes sense. What we like to do is set things up properly and for best practices, and then as everything's automated and documented, and slowly bring in maybe their internal team for the company or more permanent staff, because we're all contractors, and slowly bring us out. The idea is not to kind of wedge our team in. So I do that with my DevRel staff. The idea isn't to wedge myself in so that we're kind of, indispensable. We're the opposite. We want to be able to remove ourselves bit by bit. So over a certain time, whatever it is, 3 months, 6 months, depending on the project, that we can remove ourselves completely, and then another team, permanent team, can continue working on the foundations we've set, and then we can go in maybe once a month or every quarter and just review certain things, or if new bigger features need to be done, we can integrate with third parties. We can look into doing that. So hopefully that answers your question, Luke. If you need any more details, we can chat about this. I can even get some of my team on a stream, and you can pick their brains. You can ask what we do. You can let us know what challenges you're having, and we can share some of our thoughts. I think it's a good conversation to have. Actually, speaking about that with Andrew today, he might join me on the stream, tomorrow or Thursday, and we can have some of these discussions. Hey Bruno, how you doing? Awesome to have you here. I hope your proposal's going well. I hope that's all good. Let me catch up on the chat a bit. I want to animate avatars of people and horses who can ride in each other's yards on blockchain, so they have their own assets. Nice. You've got some really good ideas, Jennifer, and you're working really hard at it. So I really look forward to seeing how it goes. But yeah, a lot to learn. I wouldn't know where to start with animation of avatars and all those sorts of things. Even blockchain. Yeah, don't know any of that stuff. So you're doing some, cutting edge stuff, which is awesome. How was your day deploying to production? All good? Were any issues? So we deployed one major feature, which is open banking payments, and that's deployed and looks like it's good. That was deployed this morning. So straight after this live stream, we're going to be deploying the third-party integration. I've been pulling my hair out over the last kind of couple of months. So I'm hoping that goes well. And certain parts of it I can't test until it goes to production because of the way the third-party API works. They can't allow us to kind of put in fake data. So we've tested certain bits in isolation, but not like all together. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully this afternoon goes well, and you'll see tomorrow in tomorrow's live stream if I'm crying or happy. But it should be okay. There might be a few little tweaks, but nothing major. So we will see. But thank you so much for asking, Dheeraj. Getting really close. Really, hopefully finish from the project very, very soon. Jose, oh, you were going to go to Portugal and got cancelled. Yeah, Jose, I'm actually in Portugal in June as well. So my wife's Portuguese, so I go to Portugal kind of every other month or so. And I know you're in Lisbon, right? So I go to Porto a lot, unless I'm going to Web Summit, and then I go to Lisbon for Web Summit. If you're ever in Porto, let me know, and we can geek out. Definitely, we'll go to a hackathon or conference. So yeah, there was a conference in Porto that I wanted to go to, and yeah, everything got cancelled, as you know. So that kind of sucked. But there'll be more, and we can all geek out and so on. But Jose, you need to do a favor for me. You need to put a profile picture on your Google to affect your YouTube channel, because when you have like the default kind of silhouette of a person, I just don't like it. I don't know if it's very personal. Like, you can see me, I can't see you. But the picture could be a picture of your dog or your cat or a cartoon character. But I just feel that describes you in a certain way. So that would mean a lot if you wouldn't mind doing that. Ben, favorite text editor, VS Code now. I'm really enjoying VS Code. You've got to get the right plugins, and I'm tweaking it all the time and so forth. But yeah, VS Code. I actually created a plugin or a package for VS Code, which I didn't actually code anything for it. I just grouped together my favorite kind of web development for the JavaScript and TypeScript stack into VS Code, and I deployed that out as a package. So effectively, it will install like kind of, I don't know, 10 or so packages for you. But it's really out of date. I do need to update it, and Andrew has been chasing me to update it. So maybe if some of you chase me, I will update that. I've got to remember how, but yes, we'll see. And I know some people raised an issue on the Discord EddieBot, and I really appreciate that. But the issues have been looked really useful, and the suggestions have been really good. And I think I saw one just before this live stream talking about how to find the Discord token. Because I say to run the Discord bot, you do this, and you've got to put a token here at the front for an environment variable. And I think someone raised it to say, well, where do I get the token from? And that's really good. That's why I love people just testing it and running through it, because I got the token, Kush got the token yesterday, but I don't know if she had to research it or she knew it already. My point is, when you're documenting something yourself, you make assumptions, whereas when someone else goes through it, they say, well, how did you do this? It is, you say it's easy. It's like one line, just, include your Discord token. But where do you get it from? I think it's really good. So I can at least put a link to the Discord documentation, and later on maybe abstract the important parts, like the kind of the high level parts, and still include the link if people want more details. So that's really good. I did see an issue for that. I don't know if a pull request came in for it. We can take a look shortly. But God, I can't believe it's almost... Microphone hit me again. I can't believe it's almost 1:30. Time is flying by, and I am talking loads as always. VCode or Atom for me. Atom I used to like a long time ago, but Atom I just don't think it has the ecosystem that VS Code has. DevEd on YouTube. Right. Thanks, Carl. I think I followed DevEd. Maybe I haven't got notifications turned on because I haven't seen anything from him in a while. I'll check that afterwards. So thanks, Carl. I'll look that up. Luke says, well, impressive. Not sure which bit is impressive. You're talking about what I do kind of work-wise or my command center. But my command center you've seen before, so I'm guessing it's not my command center. Hopefully it's my work that I do. Definitely keep myself busy, and I can only do all the things. I didn't say do for someone to kind of pick up on that. I only can achieve the things I do because I have an awesome team around me. And people say, oh, wow, you do so much, you're awesome. No, I'm not. I'm only as good as my team around me, and my team around me are amazing. And so actually I think I'm the weakest link because I'm always the bottleneck for so many things, and I like to empower them just to get on and do things. And my team are so good at what they do, and not only are they so good at what they do, but also they know when to kind of ask for my opinion and when to just make a kind of executive decision themselves and just go on and do it. And to be honest, 99% of the time, even if they didn't ask me and made an executive decision, it's going to be right. And if it isn't, no one's going to die. It's fine. I trust them so much. They're never going to do something that's bad or negative. It just might not be my preference, but it doesn't mean my preference is is better or right than theirs. So yeah, I think it's really important. Definitely get an awesome team around you and to help you. Allows you to scale and do so much. And as of after this client I finish, I'm going to start putting out a lot more content again, and we will you'll see some interesting things. And that's why I really need your feedback and suggestions and all those sorts of things. Jennifer, fintech but no blockchain. So no. Fintech, a lot of the startups are using blockchain, but we're doing more kind of the innovation on the high street banks. So the red brick, the brick kind of, the old school banks. So innovation for them is different from innovation in a fintech kind of startup. So I think they're kind of two different worlds. So I have done a few fintechs, especially none of them use blockchain, and I think it scares them a lot of the time. D-Raj, also, can you talk about different phases of a project? I love these questions, brilliant. Like, you told today you were deploying to production. What does it mean? What comes before production, testing, etc.? Oh, great question. Oh, and I see Carl's got another awesome question. Oh, I'm loving this stream today. I feel that I'm kind of sharing some value rather than just kind of yapping. So, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, by the way, or a thumbs down, but hopefully a thumbs up. So to answer D. Raj's question, I want to bring that up on the screen. I should really bring some more of these up because these are awesome. So hopefully that comes up on the screen. So we automate everything. So everything is clickable to deploy to different environments, to build an entire environment, like a production-like environment, and to test a single feature, whatever we need to do. It's all automated. And certain people have the rights to do it. So, for example, all the developers can deploy to develop. So, if I make some code changes, I would raise a pull request. It has to get reviewed by another developer. Once they review it and approve it, or they make some comments, I address the comments and so forth. Anyway, once all that's done and they approve it, then me or them can merge it to the develop branch. And then automatically, once it's merged, it will run all the tests, build the code, and get deployed out to the development environment. And we can kind of play with it, make sure it works. Just saw that, Jennifer. If you don't like the stream, hit thumbs down twice. I love that. So it's in develop, and once it's in develop branch, the rest of the team can get that code and integrate it into their code, because you don't want conflicts. So you do little and often is really important. But then once it's in develop, someone can raise a pull request that goes from develop, it might be one feature, it might be multiple features now, to go to, say, the staging branch or the pre-release branch, or whatever you want to call it, and that will have an environment as well. So therefore the product owner or the business analyst, whoever signs off the features, can then test it with more realistic data and test it in that environment. And then we can then raise a pull request. It doesn't really get reviewed in so much detail because it's already been reviewed before, but we do just check environment variables aren't missing for certain environments, and we do those sorts of checks. And then a pull request goes up to production, but it's limited to who can merge it. So developers, for example, most of the time cannot merge that to production. And it's actually a really good conversation to have with Andrew. Maybe we can write all these questions down about the kind of life cycle of a product, and we can talk about this. 'Cause I know Andrew and me agree on a lot of this, but also we do have some disagreements, and it's interesting to always challenge each other and push it and make it better. So in terms of the testing, we automate all our testing. We do our front-end testing, our back-end testing, and our end-to-end testing, and we all automate that. So every time code is pushed to a branch, any branch on GitHub, then CI, continuous integration, will build the code and let you know immediately if it passes or fails, and give you code coverage stats, give you all those sorts of things. So therefore, if I'm going to raise a pull request, I need to push it up to a branch first, and it will let me know if it's failed. And then if it's failed, or it could have failed not because of necessarily a failing test, it could have failed because code coverage isn't at a certain level, or there's a lint issue, or something like that. Then before I raise a pull request and disturb other developers or other people in the team, I can go and fix those issues. I should have run it locally, but sometimes you just run your module, especially when you get kind of thousands and thousands of tests, which gives you that beautiful regression automated testing every time you make a change, which just reduces bugs massively. Not everything, but it does do a huge improvement on quality. And then on CI, on certain branches, so when you're branching like on a feature branch and going into develop, you're probably not going to run, you might run accessibility tests, you run your automated tests, you might not run pen testing, you might not run all those extra kind of automation tools, or load testing, you might run those on certain branches. And I mentioned before that you can actually, for a feature branch, on some big features or an epic branch, you might want the product owner or the client to test it themselves. So what we do is we prepend our branches with, depending on the project, but say kind of feature or issue, and it will actually, once CI picks up on that, actually creates the entire production environment with load balancers, with everything, and therefore when they are testing it, it's testing it in production-like environment. And then once that pull request gets merged, it completely tears down that environment. So yes, you might have like, I don't know, 8 servers being utilized, databases, load balancers, all those sorts of things, web servers, proxies, firewalls, whatever it is, but it's only for an hour or two. So you kind of get charged just for what the usage is, because once the pull request is merged, it brings that all down and destroys it. So it's actually really interesting. And we can go into more details in the future. Right, let me catch up on some of the chat. So hopefully that explains a bit more about our process. We do that on all our projects. Some go in more details in certain areas like pen testing or load testing or building up feature environment, and some don't require that. It really depends on technologies, on third-party integrations, and depends what the client really wants. It really depends what they want. Guys, like the video now. Thanks, Dheeraj. Let me know if you need any video editing, creative help. Thanks, Luke. Any suggestions and feedback are welcome. I will do my live streams and my event videos and my tutorial videos are all a bit different. I do need to get a bit better at my kind of branding across all of them. And I do have some geeky kind of animated squares that I want to put like my screen in and my camera in. But I will be on a green screen. So I need to have a play and when I get time and improve those sorts of things. But any feedbacks and suggestions would be great. That's a great topic. Jose says, yes, that's a great topic. Agrees with Dheeraj. Software development lifecycle from planning, implementation, testing is quite a big discussion. Luke thinks it'd be good too. So yeah, we can actually do that. We could do that as that'd be more of a brown bag lunchtime discussion. We kind of talk for like 20 minutes and then get those questions, and it will obviously the hour would go so fast, but I think it'd be really, really beneficial. So get your questions ready, and we'll do it later this week. On Friday, I have Janine, who's an awesome coder. She's and goes to lots of events and hackathons. She's joining me on Friday's live stream to chat about that, and her journey and how she got into tech and her project lifestyle at the company she works at. So have questions ready for her on Friday, but also we'll get Andrew on Thursday, and we can do more of a brown bag discussion. I think that'd be really awesome. So get your questions ready. Share them maybe in the live stream chat in Discord. That would be good, and we can kind of collect those up. And they'll be there, and then we can just put them in the chat on Thursday and talk about that. What else have we got? I'm in learning phase, so I would like to know everything about it. Dheeraj, it's really good that you're so eager and so hungry to learn more. I think that's really important. And you might hear things that you don't agree with, which is fine. But to be aware of something and decide not to do it is better than not to do something because you're not aware of it. So it's the unknowns that are the scariest and biggest risks. So that's awesome, absolutely. It's a really good attitude. And when Andrew and me hire for our clients, we make sure we hire on attitude first and skill second. So because you can teach skill, people can learn if they have the right attitude. People have the wrong attitude, no matter how much you kind of spoon feed them, they just not interested. So you definitely got the right attitude, and I know you have the skills as well. So you're going to go far. So that's awesome. Great example. Francesco, hi Eddie, thanks for sharing your experience and BTS principles, best practices you apply with your team with us. It's always great to join this live stream. Francesco, thank you so much for that feedback. That's awesome. I want to bring that up. I love getting positive feedback. I think it's great. It's good to get negative and constructive feedback as well. I can always make improvement. Dheeraj, Eddie is pronounced Kushbu. What did I say? I'm pretty sure when I spoke to her, or when I worked with her on a project, she allowed me to call her Kush for short. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. And if I say her full name, Kushbu, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Let me know if I've got a bit better. Short timeline of how you started your business. Short. I've got a few businesses, so maybe that's a discussion another time. Let me catch up on the chat, and I'll come back to that, Carl. I've got a few, and some are doing better than others, and some are more in the early stages. So some of them are taking money and not bringing money, and some of them are bringing money. But it's the only way to learn and experiment, really. I spend loads on my setup, as you've all seen 100 times. I'm actually looking to upgrade my audio equipment, so I'm actually looking to get all the audio equipment at the moment, because everyone wants to live stream working from home. It's really hard to get. It's like waiting to 4 weeks. So I actually want to get a really good mic to make that audio punchier. And my amp is actually almost maxed out at the moment. So you probably get a bit of a hiss depending on your headphones and your speakers. So I'm actually keen to get some really good preamps to make the quality just better. I think my video is pretty good. I still need to adjust the color a little bit. It's I think still a bit washed out, the color. It's a bit flat. I need to make it a bit more vivid. So I need to work on that. There are definitely improvements to make, and I will hopefully make them later this week. The video stuff, the audio stuff, I've got to wait a long time to get stuff. So we will see. But Carl, keep asking that question. Short timeline. I don't think it's going to be too short, no matter how short I make it. Let me come back to that in a minute. Let me catch up with the chat. I want to put Jennifer's comment up here. I think that's just so funny. I see that quite a few times, but it just makes me laugh every time. What do you mean by environments? Oh, good question, Diraj. So, like a production environment. So when you go to, twitter.com, you're using their production environment. If you went to, say, staging.twitter.com, I don't know if Twitter call it that, but as an example, then that's the same as production, all the same servers and same setup, same pipeline, same processes, and you would deploy to that before production. It just wouldn't have the same data. So it would have more realistic data, but not the same. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. If not, let me know and we can go into more detail. I'm still laughing about that comment. How do you prevent develop branch becoming a dumping ground? I protect everything that goes to develop has to go through a PR. So it cannot become a dumping ground because another developer has to approve it before it can get merged in. So our development branch is protected. Nobody can push to it directly. It must go through an approved PR. And on GitHub, you can do that. And that's how we keep our developers effectively like production. We treat it just like that. All our spikes go into spike branches and they never get merged and developed because spike is throwaway. You're prototyping really something quick and dirty just to prove that it works and it's worth pursuing it. These are great conversations for me and Andrew to have because, again, we have like 80% overlap, me and Andrew, but then like 20% is a bit different and you hear us kind of disagree on certain things. Love these questions. Jose says, Diraj, you can visualize an environment with a branch. Yeah, exactly. So master becomes production, dev becomes develop. Yeah, it's a really good way. We like to align our branches with our environments. So anything that goes to master, 10 minutes later will end up in production for the user. And we don't really like to roll back. We only ever roll forward. So we like to be able to, if something's gone wrong, we like to be able to fix it really quickly and get it out to production really quick as well, rather than rolling back, because rolling back data is a pain. It's a longer process. And you haven't really fixed the problem, you've just kind of undone it. So yeah, again, another discussion on that probably as well. I love that every branch gets deployed. QA can come in and test branches. Yeah, we try and have as little branches as possible that have environments, but as many as we need. So we usually have 2, develop and prod, and sometimes we have 1 in the middle. But we don't like to have too many, otherwise you're delaying getting to production and it becomes less of that continuous integration. So yeah, it depends on each project. And if you search for Gitflow, like Jose is suggesting on Google, you'll see more of this type of thing. I think Gitflow is really interesting to read this, but I think, and we use feature branches, but just take Gitflow with a bit of pinch of salt. Sometimes branches live for too long, so just bear that in mind. I think with big fintechs, blockchain disconnected right now, migrating accounts and servers, it seems like big fintechs is moving towards blockchain for security with medical records. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jennifer. That's true. That's what I've seen as well. Amadine's here. Awesome to have you here, Amadine. How are you doing? I hope everything's going well. Have you got a stream this Saturday? What's the topic? I really loved your stream last week with Kathy White. Kathy White? I'm pretty sure that's her surname, but Kathy. On her marketing and how to get your business out there, your personal brand out there. I need to rewatch that for like a third time. The information that she delivered was like, any sound effects was like mind blowing. Absolutely. Did you find it easy to introduce automation into financial into financial companies, or were there regulations that got in that way? Again, that's a good question. So the way a lot of those companies, well, a lot of companies in general don't want to do automation. They want to do it, but they don't get around to doing it because of the pressures and the tight deadlines. They think, oh, we'll just cut corners. We'll work faster if we don't do automated testing, automated building environments, automated documentations. If we don't do that, then we'll deliver faster. Yes, you might deliver faster in your first week or month, but then you're going to start delivering slower and slower because your tech debt builds up, your bugs build up, and there's all these unknowns. And I see it all the time. I mean, I see with my current client at the moment, I see another project that we're not working on that's a kind of a team to the side of us. And to do a form takes them like 4 months. And we say, well, it should take kind of like 4 days with the database security testing, all that stuff. And you just think, that's crazy, but they said, oh, but it was quick before. It's like they get slower and slower. The tech deck builds up and all the problems happen, and they don't have automation, so they make a change over here, but it might break something over there. So they need to then do all this manual regression testing, and it becomes a nightmare. So Andrew and me are very selective about projects that we pick. We only pick certain projects, certain clients, and we only do it one way. And we don't have like a fixed force way of doing it, but we do have a gradient, and we do have the lowest amount of corners we would cut. You still need automation, you still need documentation. There's automated, not to generate PDFs, so you can give it user documentation. It's got version numbers or technical documentations when people say, oh, this doesn't work, but I followed your docs. Well, okay, well, what API version are you using? 1.2, what docs are you reading? 1.1. Well, okay, straight away you know the problem. Just to remove all those kind of silly conversations back and forth that just waste so much time. I think conversations are really important, but I want to talk about the useful conversations, not the stupid conversations. Things like, I had one example I've kind of forgotten, so I have to come back to that. Yeah, so one example is, like, we'd love to practice BDD, right? Behavioral driven development. We like to bring the wider team as close as possible. To give you one example, I don't want to have little discussions and meetings on, once you log in, you go to your accounts page. But now we want it to go to the dashboard page, for example. Simple change, right? I don't want to have a big meeting or big discussion about that. I just want to make the change and make it really quick so the client can get it, the user can get it. How can you make that quicker? Well, if you're running automated tests with something like Cucumber and Cypress, for example, then our tests are written in plain English, given, when, then, and in the Gherkin syntax. And so rather than having a meeting, having all this discussion about it, we get our product owner or the business analyst, whoever it is, to just go into GitHub, find, they have all the files that they're familiar with, they would have seen it, find the file that they want. They can always search the repository on GitHub. And if it says, given I am a guest, when I log in, then I end up on the accounts page. They can just go in and hit the little edit icon at the top right on GitHub and just change the account name to dashboard name. It will then create a branch, it will then run on CI, and it will fail. And then I can see there's a failing branch, or one of the developers on the team can see there's a failing branch, see there's a failing test, read the test and go, oh, the test says I go to the dashboard page. Let me look at the code. Oh, the code says go to the accounts page. Right, okay. So I just need to fix that. So you can then just fix it really quickly, still on GitHub actually. It will run all the tests, it will now pass, and then the product owner or the BA, when they want that feature in, they can just go hit merge, and it just gets merged into develop, and then we'll just kind of go out to production with other features as well. So therefore, when you discuss with the product owner, when you discuss with the BA, you're having the more important focused discussion, not simple things. I see people and projects always having lots of discussion on the simple things. So when it comes to the complicated things, they kind of just rush over it really quickly. So we've only got 10 minutes left in the meeting. Let's talk about this really complicated feature. And you start off with the hard stuff first, definitely. Wow, I'm behind in the chat. Loving all this conversation in the chat. I really need to catch up though. Let me catch up, and everyone continue chatting, and then there'll be more for me to catch up on. But loving it. It's good. Anyway, I hope that really, really helps. What have I got on the screen? Nothing on the screen. So GitFlow I've taken off the screen. So Amelie, also have you here. Dawad, hopefully I pronounced it right. You never tell me if I pronounce it right, so I hope I do. Awesome to have you here. And you look like you got a question. This is awesome. in CI, when deploying, where do you put the environment properties files with secret AWS keys? And yeah, great question. You can put them in GitHub, or you get a warning email from AWS. Never put them in your code base. Never. There's no reason ever to do that. So please don't do that. When I see private projects and they go, oh, we want to go open source, we should make the open source. Sorry, let me start again. When I see a private project and I say to them, you should make your project open source, they say we can't because we've got private keys in there. And I'm like, there's no reason to keep it private. It's just so bad. Use environment variables in your CI. So if you're using Circle or GitHub Actions, you've got the secrets section. Use that, put them in there, and then it obfuscates them. Even if you're using Travis CI, Jenkins, whatever it is, and you can usually in GitLab it does. Actually, in GitLab it does show them to you. But you can, once you put them in, you can never see them again, which is really good. So it just makes it more secure. You don't want the rest of the team to have access. That obviously, when they merge into a certain branch and deploys out, the build has access, but no one ever sees what it is. So I think that's really important. That's a really good question. Please, people, never put it in your code base. There's no reason ever to do that, even for your personal projects. By the way, people watching, don't forget to give me the video a thumbs up, or like Jennifer said, double tap the thumbs down. But I hope you're enjoying this stream. I'm feeling really energized. You're all like giving me so much energy. I love this. This is brilliant. This will help me with my client deployment this afternoon. So thank you so much. But yes, Dewada, hopefully that answers your question. I didn't put yours up on the screen, so apologies for that. I should have done that. And it's kind of gone off my page to grab it. Only got like kind of 30 minutes left. Let me see. I'm going to miss out some people, so apologies for this. Actually, maybe in the future we should have it so you put a Q in front of your message if it's a question for me or for anybody else, but it's a question, I can kind of read it out and bring it up on the screen and we can discuss it more. Thank you so much, Eddie. That just made my day. And yes, you pronounced it perfectly. Okay, cool. No problem. Don't people need to generate their own keys? I think that at some point. Yes. So Jennifer, you're right. So if you're doing local development and you need access for certain things, like a third party, you should have your own, I guess, personal keys. But when it's deploying to those environments, those keys need to be in the CI so you can deploy to develop production. And no one ever manually deploys to those environments. Only CI does. So no one actually needs to know those keys. Really good value in hearing more about these developers need face-to-face because there's so much more than just coding. It's really opinionated everywhere, agile DevOps. Yeah, exactly. It's important to have these discussions face-to-face or on a call, whatever it is. It's really important to have them, but to have the important, difficult discussion. And DevOps is not a role. I had actually the founder of DevOps on my YouTube channel with a live stream with Amadine was there as well on the live stream with us. And we were having a discussion about virtual events. And DevOps is not a role, it is a culture. And that's what just really bugs me, that recruiters have fucked it up for everybody. And they're just saying, oh, hire a DevOps person. You pay them a bit more, but you get an ops person and you get a developer. And it's like, no, it's a culture. It's an attitude, just like being agile, just like BDD. Really good value in hearing it. I think I'm really behind the chat now. Let me catch up. Okay. Where have I got to? Hope I haven't missed anything out. I probably have. Let me see. PyCharm, I haven't used PyCharm before. VS Code is popular, but it's MS. Yeah, but it's open source. And I'm making my piece that it's MS. TypeScript is Microsoft as well, but I make my piece of it because it's open source, definitely. It's Mac, Linux, and Windows. Amadine, congrats on shortlisting award. Oh, what award is that? Let me know. But yeah, congrats, Amadine. That's awesome. I'd love to have a look to see what I have on Hui, my computer. Notebooks have been winning out the bits of Python messed up lately. Mostly Colab because everything is Jupyter. I hate Jupyter is really awesome, really good at Python. I don't really do Python, so yes. Vladimir, awesome to have you here. I also align branches to environments. Good to hear. Awesome. The branch's hell comes from poor planning, delay, or manual delivery. Absolutely. And also, once you've got a feature branch and it's been merged in, make sure you delete the feature branch. It's no longer needed. Short-lived branches are the best. Obviously, you've got the production, the master and develop that live for longer because they're aligned to environments. But if there's a branch that's not aligned to an environment, it should get deleted as soon as it's merged in. Unless it's a spike, then you'll never merge it in and you might keep it for the moment. Let's see. So up till now, I've been working on some very small projects, and I plan for a huge project, something that might be used by my college. Awesome, good to hear. So you can give me a flow of operations, how to organize code of different environments, branches. But we can go into more details on that. We've got about 10 minutes left on this stream, so can't go into it now. But maybe we can discuss that again on Thursday with Andrew. Andrew, if you're watching, you're on my live stream on Thursday. But organizing codes are really important. You can do mono repo, you could do different repos, and different projects, different teams do different things. But with mono repos, you've got to be really strict and make sure no code is shared between the subfolders. Amadine, thanks for noticing the award nomination. Can't wait for the results. When's the results coming out, Amadine? And what's the award? Gotta head off, Eddie. Catch you soon. Luke, thanks for popping in. Awesome to have you here. Have a good day. Azing, what is CI? That's such a good point. I make so many assumptions that people know what it is. So if I do say anything and it doesn't make sense, just let me know. And please don't be embarrassed if you don't know, because there's so many acronyms that I don't know. So CI is continuous integration. It listens, and I know, Azing, you probably know what that means, having had many conversations with you on Discord. I'm sure you know what that means, but I know you're asking it for other people. So thank you so much. If you know what something is, but you might think other people don't know what it is, then please ask it on the behalf of someone who's a bit more shy and nervous. So CI sits there listening to changes in your code and your branches. So you can configure it to only listen to, say, a master branch or develop branch. We get it to listen to all our branches, apart from spike branches. So we get it to ignore spike branches because we don't write tests for those, because they are throwaway code that will never get merged in. So CI will just listen for that, and you can run other tools. You can run automated tests, you can run linters, you can run accessibility checks, you can run load testing, pen testing. You can do all sorts of things on CI. CI is like the heart and brains of everything. Yeah, Jose's right. Continuous integration. I started with PyCharms. When did you start doing open source? Ben, start now. Or yesterday. I started like 10 years ago, before GitHub came out, and it was really hard back then. You had to sign all these things, and on GitHub it's so much easier with the licensing. So yeah, just open source is for everybody, not just for developers. Definitely get involved. Absolutely. Oh, we're coming up to the last 7 minutes. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It really helps the chat. And also don't forget to kind of, maybe share it with some friends or colleagues who might also be interested in joining in the conversation. Dawad, thanks. You pronounced my name correctly. Oh, awesome. Thanks for clarifying. If I ever get it wrong, let me know. Jose, examples would be Circle CI, CodeShip, Jenkins, TeamCity, GitHub Actions. Yep, GitHub Actions is awesome. I'm really starting to move projects from, say, Travis CI or Circle CI over to GitHub Actions, and they keep adding more and more features to GitHub Actions. So it's becoming, really awesome. Beautiful soup. Oh, what's that? That sounds interesting. Some really good comments here, loving this. Beautiful web scraping, I want to explore that too. Oh, nice. Extract data from websites, Amazon and so forth. Yeah, if they've got APIs, it's easier than scraping, but sometimes, sometimes they don't have APIs, unfortunately. Amadine's put a Q at the front. I spot that straight away. Eddie, you mentioned recruiters. What would you advise to technical people looking... Let me bring this up on the screen because this is awesome. I love this. And if I press this button, it should come up on the screen. Yay. What would you advise technical people looking to start doing some consultancy to make money while building their own project? I have this question a lot from aspiring founders. What would you advise technical people looking to doing some consultancy? Yeah, I would definitely do some consultancy to kind of help you fund that startup, so you don't have to go for investment. If you don't need to, or the investment can be smaller, or it doesn't stress you out so much. Definitely do that. It's finding a balance. So what I did with my startup is I work, but I'm actually able to get other people to then work on my startup. As much as I want to do my startup, I can scale better if I get other people to do it. And it is really hard. It's not easy. I would go through your network, and to people who know you and know you're really good at a certain area, then try and get work from people who know you. And I think you're going to build up your personal brand as well. That's really important. I get contacted on a daily basis to do like developer relations, developer advocacy, and to do web app projects, because of I just put myself out there. Everything I do, all my side projects are open source. I obviously encourage my clients to do their projects open source. A lot of them don't do that, and that's their decision. And I just put a lot of my stuff out there. So I think you need to put yourself out there, and that's a job in itself. And I do have an awesome team that helps me with me on that. And I need to just double down on that even further. I've got a bit kind of a bit lazy is the wrong word, but a bit. My focus has been spread more on my current client, just to try and get this project over the finish line. But I need to kind of get back and rejig. So hopefully that answers that question. But I think that's a really good question. You're right. A lot of people do think that and do ask that. I would definitely say they need to do some consultancy work on the side, and to do what they're good at. Don't try and do something that they're not known for, haven't done before, because then it's just more work again for them. Even if it's something they don't enjoy, and go through your network to find work. Don't go through recruiters. I find recruiters just waste so much time because they just confuse the situation, just like some consultancies do, who are more like kind of recruiters. They're consultancy, but they just bring in a new team each time, and they confuse things as well. Jose says, is web scraping still legal? I don't know. I'm not sure if it's legal or not. I don't do it. Harsh, hey, how you doing? Awesome to have you here. You joined towards the end, so we're going to be finishing up in a few minutes, but awesome to have you here. Most sites have blocked it. Okay. Got you. Cool. ISN? Carl, I'm not sure what that is. D-Raj, always welcoming people. I love that. That's awesome. What are linters? Oh, great question. So linters check the formatting and check the coding standards and do all sorts of those sorts of checks. Checks that your indentation is correct, that you're either using a line break before the return, that your empty line, you only have one empty line rather than two consecutive empty lines, that haven't got spaces on them that do nothing. So linters check all that, and there are pre-built profiles for linters for your coding language. Please don't try and write your own. I would suggest get a pre-built one. Otherwise, as you try to onboard people, they're going to get a lot more lint errors to begin with. I like my linters really strict, and so on my EddieBot, I actually need to. I've only got a recommended like TS, so TypeScript lint, but I want to make that super strict. It will look a little bit more like Java, but I just do like the strictness, and I'll add some rules in. So it's a bit at the moment. It's EddieBot is in pre-alpha stage at the moment, but yeah, definitely use a linter on CI as well. Francesco, Q question, love that, brilliant. Okay, let me bring up the next question. Should be able to see the queue really easily. Yes, I do. Cool. What scenarios do you usually cover with Cucumber? Those are end-to-end integration tests and relatively slow over time because they're quite complex to maintain. Thanks, Eddie. Really good question. Ours seem to run really fast. Andrew, we run 1,000 tests in 2 minutes. So I don't think that's slow, and you can run them in parallel. There are things to do to speed them up. And we also, failures, we take pictures, like screenshots, if we're doing end-to-end. And we also record videos. So I don't find they're that slow. That's in the JavaScript ecosystem. We write them in TypeScript, but in the JavaScript ecosystem, I don't know in other ecosystems, maybe it's slower. I wouldn't have thought so. And also on our API test, we also, when we're testing that from the kind of the API point of view, we write it with Cucumber as well. So we do all that, and it just makes it so much easier. Therefore, you can make a lot of reuse. There is patterns like the page object model for the front end tests to abstract certain things. When the UI changes, you'll have to update all your tests. But by doing things in Cucumber, then we get that level of abstraction already also in the API as well as the UI. So it's really awesome. Andrew and me on the Code Mortals channel have given a demo of that before, but we can give another demo as well soon if that helps. Hopefully that answers your question. Isn't the whole point of a monorepo to share code between packages? No, that's not my understanding, Carl, and I could be wrong. My understanding, let me bring that up. Where's Carl? It's a good point, and I think people do get confused with that. Let me bring that up. So the whole point of a monorepo, the way I see it, is when you're doing a deployment, it then deploys everything at once rather than trying to manage, this version of the UI needs this version of the API. So when you do deployment, you need to think, we're bumping the version of the UI, so we've got to make sure we bump the version of the API so the new features are available. Whereas if it's in a monorepo, when it all gets merged into that branch, all the code comes across. So That's the point of a monorepo. I don't think, because if it becomes a dumping ground, if you have a monorepo to share code, then you just kind of go to the whole previous old school world of when you have common, and then just everyone just dumps stuff into common. It becomes a dumping ground, becomes awful. So I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, we could catch up with the chat, and then I do need to go to deploy my client's work. I'm loving the conversation today. Thank you all so much. This is awesome. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, by the way. Aspiring founders, love it. We're all aspiring founders, I think, in one way or another. Have I missed loads of stuff? Probably have. Sorry if I've missed some questions. We have crossover on clients, yes. Web scraping in the bank is no longer legal. Yeah, that came out quite recently. Right, that's a good thing, I think, though. Oh, good, linter questions. Can you talk on app versions, alpha, beta? We could. We haven't got much time now. Andrew will join me on a live stream probably on Thursday. Is that correct, Andrew? And we will talk about development life cycles, and we can discuss all these things. We can make it into more of a brown bag. So bring your questions then. More like 5,000 in 2 minutes. Is that it? It's a 5,000. Wow. Yeah, Cucumber with Cypress for the front end and Cucumber and something else for the API. I can't remember. But if you architect Cucumber nicely, you can run 90% of your tests in 40 steps. Yeah, exactly. It's a good topic, API versioning. Yeah, it's a really good question. API versioning can mean different things, and it could also, put it in the URI, just like Jose's done. Maintaining that's a bit harder. So lots of positive and negatives to doing those things. If you can try and make your API backward compatible, it depends on how big and how drastic the changes are. So I'm actually going to have to finish soon. I do need to get on with some client work, and my client might be watching, and let me remove this, and I'll put my socials along the bottom if people want to follow me on socials, my Twitter, my Instagram. But yeah, I need to get back to my client work. Let's join the Discord channel. The link just got posted by Nightbot, and I'll chat to you in a few hours after I've done this deployment, and we can continue the conversation between live streams. But if I don't speak to you later on Discord because you're busy, have a great day. Don't forget to join us tomorrow, same time, 1 till 2 UK time for our lunchtime live streams. And yeah, we will have Andrew on soon as well, and we will have some more awesome discussions and challenges between us. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button if you haven't. Thank you for all the thanks in the chat. I'm looking at this now. I need to catch up on these messages, but I really do need to go as well. We'll continue the conversation another time. I do have to go. Thank you all, everyone. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Have an amazing day, you awesome people, and I'll catch you soon. Thank you very much, everyone.